Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I'm very glad to be able to contribute this conference, of course, and with my presentation, which is about engineers in our sustainable world. We will talk about, at the beginning, we will talk about sustainable development and what exactly sustainable development means and how it impacts to the construction process and our microphone. Okay, thank you. and our work. And at the end, we will make some conclusions about what issues becoming with sustainable development and how to respond to them. When we talk about sustainable development, we usually think about this cross-section of three sets: community, economy, and environment. But we should be aware that we're looking just a scheme, and that sustainable development is much more. It's a very, very complex development strategy, and it impacts to our work in many different ways. It is actually a social development concept, and it's not so new as we think. It's based on Agenda 21, signed in 1997 in Rio de Janeiro, and since then it has become a main development strategy in some countries, not all, but some, especially in European countries. And we should be aware that we're talking about long-term development, which is focused to the care for the creation future development opportunities. And we are also observed this as a long-term goal, which we should achieve gradually, step by step, by implementing short-term goals. And it is also consensus among ecological, economic, and social goals, values, and interests, and it should be implemented at the global, national, and the local levels. And it is also a constant and transparent process when we observe, discuss, and negotiate and balance between values and different goals. And it should go beyond the political interests and the political mandates. As engineers, we understand quite well the technical aspects of sustainable development and how new materials, new technologies, and new approaches impact to construction process and our lives. But I would like to highlight the non-technical aspects of sustainable development, which is also increasingly impact to construction process and our work. One is that we should understand sustainable development as a multidimensional goal, consist at least at 6 aspects: environment, society, technical, space, time, and economy. And into the frame of these goals, we have many, many goals we want to achieve at the global, national, and local levels at the same time. And this is all make these goals such a complex. And if we deal with multidimensional goal, we should use multi-criteria models for evaluating our solutions. But we know that in our practice, we usually use ranking models, which is simpler and easy to understand. And this is show as a first gap between theory of sustainable development and our practice when we try to achieve sustainability. And the second characteristic of non-technical characteristic of sustainable development are stakeholders. In the past, we have mainly 4 main groups of stakeholders which impact to construction process: investor, designer, supervisor, and contractor. These days, and in the future as well, we have many, many stakeholders besides the investors, designers, supervisor, and contractor, also consultants, other experts, local authorities. Sorry. No. Okay. civil initiatives, insurers, financiers, and many others, and as much as stakeholders we have, so many goals we have, and these all and very diverse goals. And it is just impossible to take all these goals for our construction goal. Therefore, we should discuss about these goals, negotiate and make balance between them, and make consensus. And consensus is the basic start point for sustainable construction. And this win-win situation is also the most part of sustainable development. And let we see in what environment we work with the stakeholders and make consensus. We deal with a very complex environment. We work in the frame of social values, in the frame of legislation, spatial plan, economy, environment, health and safety, time frame. Our environment is very, very complex, and therefore we should be aware that the decision about what to build and how to build is not longer just a domain of investors, and that not only the goals are important, but the most important is the way how we will reach these goals. And because of all this complexity, the role of engineers is changing too. The engineers have a variety of roles, and they design, supervise, build, care about the environment and space. They work as a project manager, coordinate the stakeholders, discuss, negotiate, and make consensus, and of course work and sustainable, and therefore they should understand sustainability, of course. And this is all lead us to the conclusion that the role of engineers is complex and very, very dynamic, and requires not a technical but also a non-technical knowledge and skills and experience. If in the past the mainly technical knowledge was enough, today for construction process to be success, we need a much wider knowledge and skills. Besides technical, we need a knowledge about legal, economic, ecology and environment, about new technologies and materials, about real estate, about project management, about how to manage the stakeholders, about sustainability, of course, and about PR. And this is all lead us to I want to point out the biggest issues becoming with sustainable development and impact to the construction process. Construction is changing and becoming more and more interdisciplinary and sustainable. And of course, with this, the role of engineers is changing too and becoming increasingly demanding and complex these days. And the technical knowledge and skills are not enough anymore, and therefore engineers take the roles that require a great variety of knowledge and skills and also experience. And design is based on consensus, not only on technical decisions, and the skills of managing different stakeholders becoming more and more important these days. And of course, new technology have quickly changed the role of engineers, and it continued to do so. And how to respond to all these issues. We should really understand what sustainable development means as a holistic meaning, and establish interdisciplinary project teams. And of course, expand the variety of engineering knowledge and skills to reply to all these challenges, and adopt an approach and gain new skills to manage stakeholders, and of course to reach the consensus. And these days We should take advantage of the economic growth and to master and introduce the new technologies in our work, as BIM is. And this is all lead us to the last statement, which is that our role is becoming more and more complex and dynamic, and also requires a great variety of technical and non-technical knowledge and skills. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.
Thank you. We have time for questions. Please ask. Oh, sorry, please.
Yes.
What we had already.
Yes.
This is, from my point of view, this is a task the university or the education will have to take.
Yes. I totally agree with. I also think that with sustainable development we go back, and we, yes, and we care about the nature as our grandfathers. They was also care about the nature, about the heritage and all this. And I think that we slowly coming back. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Please.
In my country, I come from Australia, and not very well represented. And are unfortunate, but we have created a new undergraduate course, and basically address sustainability.
Sorry, I'm not understand the question.
It's a statement more than a...
It's a statement. Okay, okay.
We have created in Australia, and maybe in other countries, a new undergraduate course that's sustainable, humanitarian, and it's basically established cover the areas of...
Yes, I think that if you want to reply all these challenges becoming with sustainable development, our of course our knowledge, skills, and also experience, we should definitely widen this area, especially in our young engineers. Yes.
Okay. Any other, please?
This maybe not just a knowledge, because the knowledge in society is very specific for some groups, for some experts. You just should maybe know about how this knowledge impact to your work, or when this knowledge impact to your work, and consider about all these stakeholders which you deal. And I think that this knowledge becoming with practice more than with students program, but it could be very, I don't know, helpful if university try to put this non-technical knowledge in program. Maybe just one part, not of course, a legal knowledge you should study much more than maybe just a few hours, but maybe that you recognize how could this knowledge impact to our work, because we are part of society. Yes.
Any other? I have one question also. Is this all new knowledge and all new skills that is required, and what other conditions that we have to fulfill, also one of the reasons that everything takes longer to prepare and build than it used to?
Definitely.
Okay,
definitely. It takes additional money, and of course it takes more additional time to make consensus.
Mm-hmm. And is this consensus always the optimum?
Not the optimum. I think that this is something we must do.
Yes.
Especially in society with sustainable development goals.
Okay. If there is no other question and comments, I will thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you.